So this year is Sonic's 34th anniversary, and to celebrate, SEGA is hosting a giant event at Joy Palace, their big old amusement park that hosts like a bunch of like arcade games and sometimes even rides at one point too. But anyways, alongside this announcement of their big 34th anniversary celebration, they released this image, and oh my goodness, the fan base has been going crazy over this thing. But before we start talking about all of this, please make sure to subscribe because we're trying to 4,000 subscribers whenever we do that. Also, I live stream every Saturday at 11 a.m. PST and 2 p.m. EST. Please just come check it out. We always have so much fun. You all obviously know what this video is about, so I don't think I have to give the enormous spiel that everyone else does. But just in case you don't know, back in 2005 with the release of Shadow the Hedgehog, pretty much everyone in the main Sonic cast got brand new models for all of the CGI stuff, whether it be actual like CGI like opening cutscenes or just for promotional stuff like renders and stuff like that. And obviously these models weren't the best back then, so they've been tweaked over the years, and we've been seeing them in their newest forms every single game release. And more recently, it seemed a lot more stagnant and there haven't been as many changes. And the changes that were made to this model over the years, many people did not like. And me saying did not like is saying the least about this, because there has been so much discussion, so many arguments, so many videos you could probably check out about this topic, about the many different changes made to these models that make the Sonic characters look at least a little bit ugly in the eyes of the fan base. Now me, however, I actually really like the modern Sonic models and the ways they've been using them. Obviously, this means that I have very poor taste when it comes to Sonic designs, but I feel like these are still really good models and they will hold up well within the next 20 to like even 50 years from now. Now, obviously, there have been a few renders that people have liked in the past, such as the SEGA Hardlight renders. I don't see how. In my personal opinion, these things just look so bad for whatever reason. I can't quite put my finger on it, but just something about these things makes it look really weird. Whether it be the fact that they're trying to look like 2D drawings, even though they're full 3D renders, or the weird back spine thing that Sonic's got going on, where his bottom spine right here is like drooping down really far, or something about the fact that his mouth isn't consistent between renders like it is with like a bunch of different Yuikawa art, like how it does try to emulate for whatever reason. It just kind of looks really weird to me. I could spiral about these renders for like ages, and man, it would look, it would be really bad on my part because the fan base already technically hates me. Do you see how many comments I got in the community post about all this? Like, come on. I shouldn't talk about this anymore, just out of fear that the fan base will just attack me. The Sonic Dream Team renders are also getting this sort of praise as well. I also don't see why, because these things are also very bad. In fact, I'd put them as some of the worst Sonic renders that we've gotten throughout the past few years. I think this mostly comes down to the fact that it's a new model and people want to see a new model. I also want to point out just a little bit of hypocrisy here. A lot of people don't like the in-game model from Sonic Frontiers, from Sonic X-Shadow Generations, and from Sonic Forces. But when it's used as a full-on render, people are like, oh, this looks really good. This looks awesome. No, it doesn't. These things look like actual booty cheek. Like, look at his quill there. It just looks so bad. Look at his mouth, how it's shaped, the weird, like, shading on his bottom teeth, and, like, how his fist is, and, like, there's so much I could critique about this specific render in particular, but a lot of people seem to like it because it's using the actual in-game model, even though there's not actually a lot of difference between the CGI one and the in-game model besides, like, quill length, color, textures, stuff like that. I really don't see it, guys. Obviously, I got to point out the Sonic movie renders because these things are great. They're some of the best renders to come out of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, and I'm surprised more people don't use them with like advertising on like a bootleg birthday stuff or something like that, because these things just look awesome. Not the fan-made ones, though. We don't talk about those ones. But anyway, those were all just exceptions to the rule. Nowadays, however, things have gotten so much worse and so much better at the same time. It's honestly crazy. Yes, you did read that title right. Sonic the Hedgehog renders. Obviously, they got a few good ones of Shadow. But look at the most recent modern Amy render. This is from Sonic X Shadow Generations that released back in October of 2024. I don't want to hear it. You could say I'm nitpicking because the Sonic Racing Cross Worlds one is also there as well, but I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I think this one also looks bad as well. I'm not going to go over, like, specifically how each design looks really bad nowadays, but, like, if you want to really see that, go take a look at Splash Dash's video, specifically about Knuckles he talks about, because that's just a really good discussion right there. But anyways, getting back to Sonic the Hedgehog renders, what really sparked this whole discussion was the Happy Birthday Sonic 2022 render. And you want to see what that is? If you need a reminder or haven't seen it at all before, brace yourself. Ta-da! I have nightmares about this thing. Look at his mouth. You can kind of see like the top of his teeth. I don't actually think that was supposed to happen. His quills are like in a very flat position, which makes it look like just a render and not like him popping off the image. I shouldn't have to even say anything about that elbow crease. That specifically, that's my sleep paralysis demon right there. The eyes, they look lifeless. I'm supposed to be staring at Sonic the Hedgehog, not Speedy McBlueface over here. I and many others consider this to be the worst modern Sonic render ever. Obviously, there have been little mishaps in the past, such as that whole 2021 render fiasco with Sonic jumping out of the ring. That was bad. But from here, we technically could not go any lower. So with 2023, we actually got a somewhat better looking render. This one actually looks a lot better for a few reasons. One, because the lighting on his head actually like makes him look like he's in an environment. His glove, however, it does not do that. In fact, it looks like very unlit. It just like pure white. That looks really weird. His mouth is still weird. At least I can't see his weird teeth, because if you guys hadn't noticed on the last render, Sonic in this specific model has a line of teeth. He doesn't have individual ones like the old Sonic movie design. Thank goodness. But it still looks weird regardless, so at least I can't see those. The eyes look a little bit better as well. I think him facing towards the camera is also a little bit more of a better decision as well. But overall, this one isn't as bad. I'd probably invite him over to my house. I'd still definitely poison him. Don't get that twisted. But I think we could still have a pretty good conversation. I don't know about like economics or something. I don't know what Sonic talks about. Next was 2024, and oh my goodness, what happened here? It's like we got a completely new model. I wouldn't just invite this guy into my house, I'd let him date my sister. A dynamic hand pose, a darker shade of blue. The quills actually look pretty nice. The lighting overall is pretty nice as well. That smirk, not showing any teeth, is definitely a plus on this model. Plus, he's actually in a good pose this time, so this is actually just like a nice render, isn't it? Little did we know, however, that in the back of Sega's brain, or wherever these renders come from, something good was cooking for 2025. Obviously, I'll get to all the other renders later, but let me hype you up for this one, because this might be the best Sonic render with this model that we have ever gotten. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the Sonic Happy Anniversary 2025 render. Beautiful, isn't it? Forget my sister, this guy's coming with me. The immaculate lighting, the pose, the thumbs up, the smirk actually looks good this time with teeth too. I can't believe it. The quills are actually in a good silhouette this time too. Did I mention the lighting? It's official, me and him are having kids. In all seriousness though, this is actually a really good render. I don't know what happened. It's like Sega flipped a switch, and now we're getting really good renders. Beforehand, it was, Mr. Sega, can we please get a new render and make it good this time? And Sega was like, don't worry, kid, we'll make it good. But he's getting like a minimum wage salary, so he pops out with elbow crease. But now we're like, hey there, kid, you want a brand new Sonic render? Hell, here's a brand new Sonic render, and a good one at that. I've been recording this section for a very long time now, and I'm still just so very surprised at this thing. Like, this is my favorite Sonic render, hands down. Even fan-made renders don't come to this level personally for me. However, this isn't all, because back in late March of this year, we got a leak for a Sonic 35th anniversary calendar, like kind of like this one, but it has like history of Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff like that. Anyways, this is what the render looks like, and oh, it's perfect. It's like Sega's actually listening to the consumer. Pose, it's not all that like dynamic, but I think it still looks really good with this model. Also, by the way, there's no way this is the same exact model that we've been getting for the past 20 years. There is just straight up no way. Because take a look at some of the aspects of it. Darker fur, longer quills. I think less saturated green. I can't quite tell about all of the colors, but something looks vastly different compared to even like the Joy Paulus 2025 render. Like, guys, what is happening? Now, obviously, there were actually signs of all of this to come. The Sonic Frontiers key art actually looks really good, as well as its Japan box art. There are also a couple of other instances, such as the 2020 render. It's this one right here that I'm showing on screen. This one actually looks really nice as well as the Sonic Racing Crossworlds render, actually looking pretty nice as well. We also got a Sonic render from Year of Shadow that looks good as well. Same with Sonic Shadow Generations, they brought us really good Sonic renders as well. We also can't forget this render that came with some CGI magazine. Now, this one wouldn't be for me personally, but I would give him a good firm handshake as well as a pat on the back telling him he did a good job. Also, back in like whenever this render was released, this is probably what I consider to be the best render, like before all of this stuff happened, was this one right here. It just looks so nice, so dynamic. This is probably the best pose that we've gotten with this specific 20-year-old model. But yeah, it's just like a little honorable mention because I know I haven't been the most favorable towards the old model in this video. You know, this is all really well and good, but then you take a look at the other characters and you're like, why does Amy's face look like that? Hopefully what all this means is that we are actually getting new models for these characters, which people have desperately requested for years now, which I have too. I feel like I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing these things literally everywhere. Like, I'm literally staring at this thing on a box of gummy worms, or not gummy worms, little Sonic. Isn't that so cool that they made Sonic gummies? I wish I could find these things nowadays because I think I can only see them in like, I don't even know. I don't even see them that much anymore. This is a video about Sonic renders, right? Anyways, Sega, regardless of what's happening here, man, you're doing a really good job. I don't know if you can keep it up, but please, if you can, please keep giving us good renders. And maybe even give us a good render of another character from time and time again who isn't Shadow, because we know you can do that as well. A bunch of characters are coming in Sonic Racing Crossworlds, and hopefully they all get really good renders as well, because I can't deal with having to see the same exact Jet the Hawk render every single time. Also, by the way, now that I'm on the subject, where are the new, like, Wave and Storm ones? I feel like we've been seeing the exact same ones since, like, Sonic Freeriders when that was released, and like, literally, I can guarantee you their models have changed a lot since then, so where are their new renders? Also, while we're on the subject, they're bringing us brand new renders of, like, new, older characters that we haven't seen since, like, their single game back in, like, 2007, like Marine the Raccoon, or even the IDW characters are getting actually really good renders. It's just unfortunate because they're using the weird Sonic renders that they've been using for 20 years for the main cast. Also, this is so weird, and I'll never get to mention it again except for this very specific moment, but for the newest Sonic Dash update, or at least with the update with the cards and all that stuff, Knuckles' render on his card looks like this, right? Now, I know I'm not crazy, but does his right fist look a little weird? If you said yes, you would be correct, sir. His render looks like this. Notice something different about his right arm? I know for a fact that some of the renders go outside the detailing of the cards, so why don't they just do that? Why didn't they just keep the same render? I will never get to talk about this again, so I really want to get this out there. But SEGA, just use the normal render that you have already. You don't need to edit the other one. I'm going through Sonic Dash here, just because we're on the subject again. I'm looking at that vector render. That's not from any recent game. That's his Sonic Forces speed battle render. That's not even the Sonic Forces render. It looks so bad. Even Sega Hardlight, even though they can pump out some quote-unquote bangers, like the fan base likes to call them, but they used the worst vector render that they could find. Like, Vector has a lot of good renders in my personal opinion, but really? They used the worst one? Anyways, I hope this is all a really good sign for the future of Sonic renders, because I really want to have better ones to use on my thumbnails. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I want to talk about today. I know I'm a little bit late to this subject by like a couple weeks or so, but I think this is still a really good discussion in terms of like everything within the Sonic like series right now. Like, pretty much everything has come up in quality except for the renders. except for nowadays when we're actually getting really good ones. Yeah, continue the discussion. Let me know your thoughts about all this down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.